Episode 10 was corrupt, to say the least. It started up, but it had no audio, and the first part was so badly compressed that it was hardly viewable. The next part was just plain static for the rest of the video. Great. A missing episode, I thought. Episode 11, called Happy's Trick, was actually watchable. The intro was some weird, offbeat carnival music, with Happy doing his death smile at the camera. The episode began with him in his van, driving on a winding road. As the episode went on, scars started to appear on his body. Eventually, Happy reached the playground, where many children were at play. He jumped out, looking like he was ready to abduct them all, and said, "Hey kids, who wants to see Happy do a magic trick?" Like brainwashed zombies, the kids cheered and ran into his van. Happy closes the door and drives away from the playground. After a few minutes, the van came back, and the side door opened, revealing a motionless and expressionless Happy, covered in blood. I couldn't take it anymore. Happy was making me feel extremely nauseous for some reason, so I skipped to the end of the episode. From what I saw, the rest of the episode was him watching TV and reading the news, with random zoom-ins at the newspaper. Why though? I'm guessing they're predictions, like episode 9. But after that episode, I'm not gonna go back and read them. There was a very brief scene where Happy began to stab a kid, but it quickly cuts out to Happy watching a scene on his TV where the insides of a space shuttle catch on fire. Why the hell does this show keep showing scenes very reminiscent of future disasters? Once I got to the end of the episode, Happy was holding a knife, covered with blood. The camera began to pan down to a table, which had a hand with cut marks laying on it. What was probably the most unusual thing about this episode is what happened after this scene. After a few seconds of credits play, it very suddenly cut to a black screen with text that said, "If you get these DVDs." I copied the show over to them from whatever master tapes I could find. I wanted to preserve this show so that the last few episodes weren't lost forever. Now, you might be wondering one thing. How did Nickelodeon air all those episodes? I don't know. They just did. That's that. If you want to know more about the show, including its fate, see me. KC. Thankfully, I had a good grasp on whom the KC most likely was. Kevin Seward Christensen, a friend of mine. It wouldn't be out of the question. When I first met him, he did mention something about working with Nickelodeon until the end of the millennium. Wanting to learn more about the show's fate, I went over to his house. What happened when I got there was, to put it bluntly, odd. When I got to his house and rang the doorbell, nobody responded. The door wasn't locked, so I decided to come in the house and see what was going on. I heard a middle-aged woman crying upstairs, so I ran across the living room and up the stairs to see what was going on. Kevin's wife was in their bedroom, crying at a framed portrait of them together. I asked her what had happened to Kevin, and she replied with a very odd answer. "Last night, someone or something took him away in his sleep. The police are trying to look for him, but they've come up with nothing as usual. They've questioned me and searched our house for evidence, but there's none, except for this scrap of paper." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. I unfolded it, and it revealed itself to be a low-quality photograph of the scarred Happy Appy during the natural scene. While I was at their house, I asked her how the episodes managed to get aired on Nickelodeon. This man, he drugged the producers. He was going to... However, she only managed to get that far before bursting into tears. I could only think that whoever that man was had kidnapped Kevin on the 26th. After confronting her, I left the Christensen household and walked off. Once I started to get near my house, I was startled by the noise of a gunshot nearby. I instantly ran to my house, fearing that whoever kidnapped Kevin and killed his wife were trying to chase after me. Before I closed the door, I took one last glimpse at the bushes on the other side of the street. In one of them was a mutilated arm, with an unknown figure standing behind it.